I think it all starts with belief. Maybe that's no surprise coming from me, but the old adage, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. A lot of times we have these great ideas that are really great ideas. And it's not even our friends or family who tear us down. It's ourselves. It's our own voice. I'm going to start a podcast. Oh, I'm excited. Then the next day, you're going to start a podcast? You can't start a podcast. Maybe that's why I'm so crazy in my own self-talk, cheering myself on and telling myself I can do things. Because I think that's the biggest thing. You have something great to contribute to. And how long is that going to take before you go off and do it? And it won't be great out of the start. Expect to suck at the start. Doesn't mean that you suck as a person. It just means that you don't have the skills yet. Go back and watch my first video versus this one. There's a ton of progress. I hated my first 350 videos and couldn't watch any of them back, but I just kept going. Let this video be that permission slip for you to take that idea that you've got, that is noble, that is worthy, that is in service of others, and just get started and do something about it.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I watch these videos every day because I need them for motivation. Being around successful entrepreneurs every morning helps me believe that I can do great things too. It's like your morning coffee, but for your goals, kickstarting your day with a blast of positivity. So here is a challenge for you. Try watching one video every morning for the next 30 days. And let's find out together if they help you do great things too. If you're in, leave a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can celebrate with you. So today, let's learn from me and my team's take on my top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is find balance.
Do you have a process that you found to be helpful when it comes to abiding by that 80-20 principle and really discerning where to place your focus?
Yeah. So when I'm in flow state, I try to stay there as much as I can for as long as I can. And I'll push other stuff to make that happen. My challenge might not be prescriptive to others, is that I'm not always in flow state. It's always like, this is the thing that I have to do today. Oh my God. Right. And so I have my calendar, and I find it helpful to do different things on different days. So every day of the week, I have a different theme. So we're recording this on a Thursday. Thursday is my
podcast day.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like I do. This is a challenge for me to get going in the morning because I'm introverted and shy, and like it's easy for me to just
you never know.
Yeah, I would stay and make content and research and stats, and like I love that. So I start the day with I do community training. So it's like my light start. It's easy. They're family. I know them. It's always fun, and training them on their YouTube channels, whatever. And then the whole day is podcasts and interviews. And so I'm going one into the next, And so it's easy to maintain that energy. If anything, I gain it. Like you're getting the Evan from the whole day of me doing other interviews and shows. And it's like, this is fun and comfortable. But Evan at the beginning of the day, like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this.
I'm glad I got you in the afternoon then.
That's why I always start with the light, like my training, because it's my family and it's easy. So I have different days, different things. So today, that's all I have to worry about is doing different shows and spreading the Believe message and trying to help support people and their shows and their channels.
Rule number 3 is understand your why.
I think the game of growth, obviously we want to have an impact and you want to reach as many people as possible. And I'm sure your audience would as well. And that's fine. And it's great. And it's a noble ambition. And it's a great goal to go spread more positivity in the world because, man, we need it right now. But the game of who we're not never ends. Who we're not serving never ends. And we've had 600 and something million people now who've seen the videos. Why is it not 1 billion? Why is it not 5 billion? Why don't I have 20 million subscribers or whatever, right? The game never ends, which is fine. It's exciting. We never want to reach the top of the mountain. But by the same token, instead of only looking forward at who we're not, you can also look back and say who you've helped. And to know that the work you do is valuable and important. And this is back to the why. If you can actually feel connected to why you're doing the thing that you're doing, that this video may not reach 1 million people, but if it reaches 14 and has a life-changing impact on them, it's totally worth it. And at least for me, that's what kept me going. If you look at you talked about my website, I showed the year-over-year growth of YouTube subscribers. And year 1 was like 25 subscribers, and year 2 was 70 something. I don't remember. But by year 5, we still only had 2,000 subscribers or something. A lot of people would say that's a failure. Like you only had a couple thousand subscribers after 5 years of doing this. You must really suck. But I just always focused on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't.
Rule number 4 is develop consistency.
I love groups and I love events, and I have my own. And I've been to Brendan and spoke on Brendan's stage twice, 3 times. I don't remember. Anyway, Brendan's great.
And we have these like highlight moments, which can take you up to a new level momentarily. But where do you fall back down? And then it's in those daily habits. I didn't wake up today. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to change the world. This is great. I'm so excited, right? That didn't happen this morning. Woke up. I don't know what day it is. I'm tired. You know, my dog was barking last night and all this stuff. But it's the habits that get me to this point. And so why I make the videos that I make is for me, because I want Elon Musk in my ear and Maya Angelou in my ear and Gabby Bernstein in my ear. Like I want those people in my ear every day because they help me believe in myself more than I currently believe in myself. Even if I have I'm talking to you, this is great, amazing. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to talk to those 2 people that I need to book on my show and tell them the new plan and hopefully it's going to be okay and not freak out too much. But then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and it's like, it's gone. Where did that energy go? I don't know. So you got to rebuild it again. And so this is why a lot of people go to events and then never make a change. They just get really motivated and excited. But what's the point of motivation? What's to give you the courage to go do the thing that is necessary in your life? Like motivation alone doesn't do anything, just makes you feel good. But it's to give you the courage to then go make some kind of change in your life or your business. Yeah. And then for any change to stick, you have to have consistency.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video.
The worksheet will highlight our favorite lessons from the video that will inspire you to remember what you learned today and actually apply them.
The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is think strategically.
What would you suggest to get more monetized, to how do we can really make money on YouTube?
Is it all interviews?
It's all interviews.
And is it all live? Or are you doing
all live? Everything's been live except for like the first 8 episodes. Everything's been live.
Cool. I would stop doing live immediately. Live sucks on YouTube. On the replay, it's great for live. So I don't know how many people are watching live right now. So it's great for an immediate audience, but most live videos are dead afterwards. So like this video in 3 months is probably dead, or like in 2 weeks is probably dead. So never do live. Edit the video. The beginning of every episode, if you do live and you don't edit it, I don't know how we started this episode, but it's not great. And so if they don't know you, like you're making content for people who don't know you. If people already know you, love you, great, they'll watch anything. They'll watch you doing whatever. But somebody who you're trying to gain a new audience, they don't know who you are. It's your first time. They wouldn't sit through the first part of this video.
Yeah.
It's too boring. So what is the highlight moment from this video? And you clip it and you put it at the beginning. Or you have a powerful intro that you're going to lead with of what people can expect in this video. The first minute really, really matters. So look at your audience retention for every video and see where are people at 1 minute.
Okay.
The gold standard is 70%. If you hit 70% and you're doing long videos, you're going to crush. You're probably not at 75%. You're probably at like 40-something%. So, okay. but the interview is good, and you asked a lot of great questions, and you've asked me questions people haven't asked me. I've told stories that I haven't told, right? So that's already, I've been on a lot of shows. So that already speaks to your curiosity and your vibe and the way that you process, which is unique and different. You're not just asking me, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? And like all the usual stuff that people, but that's what most people ask, whether they're nervous or they're just being lazy or whatever. Like that's how most people approach it. You haven't asked me any of those typical questions. So looking at your retention, so you take a video, you edit it, and then put it up on live as a video. I would never ask people to introduce themselves.
Okay.
You asked me to introduce myself. I flipped it and we started talking about Doug Rackman or whatever, or like why you were afraid to have me on or something, or why you were nervous. Because if you ask me to introduce myself, what happens? I'm going to give you my scripted answer of how I introduce myself, which is going to be the same introduction I've given on all sorts of other podcasts. Now it's boring. Now you got the same intro, and the intro is the thing that matters the most.
Okay.
Where the intro should be, tell me what you like about me. Like, tell me why I'm here.
Okay.
I don't care if you read never read my bio. That's the other worst thing. Like you read the person's bio, now it's super boring. The audience is checked out. As a guest, I'm checked out because I don't want to hear my bio. Okay, I got another minute. I'm going to wait here for Jacob to finish reading my thing, right? Just tell me why I'm here. Tell me, like if you said, I don't care if you mention subscribers or awards I've won or whatever is on, I don't even know what's in my bio. If you said, I've got Evan, I love him because blank. And honestly, I didn't even know the guy before 2 weeks ago, but he made this epic video on Ryan Reynolds that completely changed how I do my business. And I invited him on and he's here. And this is the first interview I've been nervous for 3 months or whatever. Like, just speak me from your heart.
Yeah. I like that.
And I'm not going to be offended if you tell me something, you don't read my bio. And now I'm way more engaged too. It's like, oh man, like the Ryan Reynolds video. Okay, I see you, Jacob. Okay. And we're starting a conversation.
Rule number 6 is enjoy the journey.
I think a lot of times the first thing that you sell isn't the thing that you end up making millions with or changing the world with, right? I mean, you started in landscaping, it's not what you're doing right now. I started in baseball cards and garage sales. Like that's not what I'm doing right now. And that's the thing is like not to put so much pressure on this thing has to be the thing or I'm not going to start, right? You try it. Try writing the book. And see. And if you like it and you keep getting, like your first book is probably going to suck. The first time you write anything is going to suck. Great. Did you love it? Because if you love it, you can keep refining and getting better and honing the skills so that you can become a world-class author. Did you hate it? Cool. Move on to go do something else. I think that's part of the process is paying more attention, not to how well you're doing or what the results are, but did you love the actual process of it? Because if you're doing something just trying to make money, you're going to lose. But if you actually love the process of doing it, you end up winning and making tons of money too.
Rule number 7 is begin taking action.
That certain feeling of temporary motivation that never lasts when you hear those inspiring stories of those people.
Okay, so it doesn't need to last. Here's the thing, like what's the point of motivation? The point of motivation is to give you the courage to go do something. So just feeling motivated, nothing changes in your life. You might feel a little bit better. It's like you know, you just have this little burst of happiness. Amazing. But the way to make it last is it gives you the courage to go take the action. Like maybe you were nervous to get on here today. I don't know. Maybe you were nervous. Maybe it was super easy, but maybe you were nervous, right? And maybe you don't raise your hand. Maybe you say, no, Christy, like I'm not ready and my question's not good enough. I don't know what to ask, whatever. Like you could have not been here, but you chose to be here. How do you get to this stage? Well, it's the motivation and the courage to say, pick me, I want to come and ask a question. So to then go do something. So when the next time you feel really motivated and inspired, immediately jump to what action do I need to take right now? Because the actions are going to be the thing that change your life and the lives of others.
Rule number 8 is have a morning routine.
I'm going to walk you through what I do every day, every morning, and the different calendars that I have. And I'm going to take it deeper than I've ever taken it on any presentation or speech. My morning starts with no alarm. So the to-do is no alarm. And I'll usually go to bed at the same time. You go to bed around 11 and read and then fall asleep maybe 11:30. But I wake up with no alarm. And I haven't woken up to an alarm, I don't know, maybe in a decade. Now, if I'm speaking and I have to be on stage in the morning or traveling or something, then sure. But day to day, no alarm. I just basically let my body get the rest that it needs. So yesterday, I woke up at 8 something. This morning, I woke up at 5 something. I wake up when my body wakes up. Some nights I need more rest. Some nights I don't need as much rest. And so I get up, right? And so I delay the start of my day where nothing really has to happen until 10 o'clock so that I can get the sleep that I need in my life. Susie says, absolutely agree with that. It may not work for everybody, but I'm telling you what works for me. Next, the first thing I do after I wake up is intention for the day. I wake up, you know, I got lines on my face. I got stuff in my eyes. You know, what day is it? I don't even remember. What is my intention for the day? This is the first thing that I do. So I go to the bathroom, and in the bathroom, I'm looking at my calendar for what's happening today and setting the intention. Okay, today, what day is today? It's Thursday. It's public facing day. What's my intention? I have movement makers up first. Amazing. This is going to be great. What's my intention? I want to serve the people here in this group. I want to help. I want to try to get the things that are inside my head and put it into your head so you can then spread your message out and get it to other people's heads. And so what's the intention? And different days have different intentions for me. Even inside a day, you might have different intentions. The background on my cell phone, you probably can't see it, too small, but it says, remember your intention. Remember your intention. It's a constant reminder to me, is what is my intention for the day, for this moment, for right now? Because if you wake up, most people wake up like an accident with zero intention. And you got hopes and dreams and ambitions, and something inspires you, and you hope that makes a difference. And it might, but we forget our intention. So when you live an intentional day, it's totally different than when you're living an accidental day. Next, 30 breaths and then 10 cold splashes on my face. So 30 breaths is Wim Hof style. So it'll be like that, 30 breaths, just to start getting some airflow going. And then I will take the coldest water. While I'm doing that, I have cold water on, running, and I'll just then splash it on my face just to wake up. Like, good morning. We set our intention. No time like the present to go kick us off. Let's go. So 30 breaths, 10 cold splashes every day. Then water. The goal is to drink one of these a day.
Rule number 9 is start working on your ideas. There are other moments where like I get an idea and like, wow, this would be really cool. And I just start working on it. And I'm willing to I'll throw away a whole day to work on this thing, because that's where the magic actually gets created. And this might be not great advice for most people. I don't know, but it works for me. So if you look at my YouTube channel, one of the things that I've been known for, I guess, is doing these rules for success for different people that we profiled. Mm-hmm. That was never part of my plan. That came because a friend of mine, Mark Drager, made this blog post about Taylor Swift and Kanye West, about how Kanye interrupted Taylor Swift at the years after the thing happened. I'm like, Mark, dude, like, you might not like Kanye, but you could learn a lot from him. Like, and now he's gone extra crazy recently, but he went from being a producer to a rapper to an entrepreneur to billionaire. Like, you might not like him, but you can like choose to learn from people who you don't like, as opposed to just seeing the negative side. Because there's lots of negative things you can find, but you can learn from him. And so I threw away my entire day to make a video about Kanye West and 10 lessons that you can learn from him. And I don't know what else I had scheduled on that day. I had other stuff planned. Like, this was not just, what am I going to do today? But I got so upset at my friend Mark that was the very first video that I made as a tribute to somebody that I wanted to learn from. And as a result, people said, hey, can you do Dame Dash? Can you do Oprah? Can you do Jay-Z? Can you do? It's like, yeah, okay, let's go. And that became part of this thing that I now do.
It's your signature.
But it was a random one-off just to show it to my friend Mark Drager exercise that I was willing to throw away air quotes, throw away my entire day to do. I just don't judge myself for that being a right or a wrong decision. Like, that one worked. But I've done other things that didn't work.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is embrace discomfort. I put pressure on myself that I want this to be the best. Like, when you ask me, what am I up to right now? I'm talking to Jeff. Like, this matters to me. I want this to be the best interview that you've done, that I've done. And maybe it's not. Maybe I'm the worst interview you've done, in the past 10, or maybe I end up being much better for the next 4 episodes I'm doing, but it's my intention going in. And because I put that pressure on myself to try to show up, then it makes me nervous. I think it's a good thing. I think if you don't have anything that makes you nervous, that makes you anxious, that gives you some stress in a positive way, I think you hate your life. Like, I think otherwise you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over again. And so, every time I get on, an interview, now I've already done 2 today. So
you have, huh?
It's just like, it's carrying you're getting the energy that I already had in the last 2. It's like, it's carrying forward and carrying over. Yeah. But before I do my first one, I'm always a little bit nervous, not because I haven't, it's logically, yes, I've done it. How many interviews have I done? How many videos have I done? Even before I make a YouTube video, I'm still nervous. I've done 6,000 videos. Why am I still nervous? Because I want this to be the best one I've done. If I want to just keep doing it the way I've done it, then I could do that again. Evan from 10 years ago might have stressed out for a week before Kevin O'Leary coming on. Evan from 15 years ago probably would have found a reason not to do the show with Kevin O'Leary, right? I would have found that, I'm too busy, or really because I'm just afraid that it's not going to go well. So find an excuse out. But, an hour before, I think if you look at your calendar, look at the week ahead, look at the month ahead, and there's nothing in there that makes your heart beat a little bit faster, I think you hate your life. Like, I think you have to have some of those things in your calendar. Otherwise you hate your life.
You've coached a lot of entrepreneurs and you've seen businesses succeed. You've seen businesses fail. What do you think is a big difference between an entrepreneur who had success versus the ones who never start or fail in the future?
The biggest things are probably the most cliche, but one, the successful entrepreneurs love the thing that they're doing. Like they love the work. Like if you don't love real estate, it doesn't make sense to dedicate your life to real estate. Like you better love doing real estate. Otherwise, people who love it will crush you, right? So you better love the actual work, not just the end result of doing the work. The second thing is they got started. A lot of people just don't start. A lot of people just have this hope and dream and like one day I'm going to do this thing and oh, I'd love to get into real estate or I'd love to be an investor and then don't do anything about it. So they have to start. And then the third one is that they just kept going. You know, you faced a lot of ups and downs and hardships and problems and setbacks and funds didn't go through or they bought the wrong deal or the economy crashed and like you stick with it. And that's what successful entrepreneurs do that others don't. You love the work, you get started, you keep going. Fairly cliche, but also, you know, super important.
Cliche, but probably two of the most strongest points if you want to succeed. I think anyone that I've seen do well has love what they do. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Loving what you do is probably the number one rule of success of all the people that I've not just worked with, but also studied and profiled. We've profiled on the YouTube channel probably more successful people than maybe anybody, definitely on YouTube. And that's the number one rule for success, whether they're an entrepreneur, a musician, athletes, like they love the thing that they're doing. The reward is the work itself, not the goal that they're chasing.
How can us young people focus, find purpose, and avoid, like you always say, avoid going to a job we hate, going back home into a home that's too small in the future?
I would look at what are you getting distracted by? Because the answer might be in there. So if you're getting distracted because you're going on YouTube and you're watching Minecraft videos, maybe you should be a Minecraft creator. If you're getting distracted by going on Instagram and looking up avocado recipes, maybe you should be doing something with avocados and cooking and recipes. Like think about what you're getting distracted by. And then how can you turn that into a career? Because it's never been easier or more possible. If you're sitting in history class and you're hating it and you're daydreaming and you don't want to think about the Civil War or whatever you're being taught, right? Some people love history and that should be their thing. But pick your worst subject. What are you daydreaming about? Shoes, music, cooking? Like what are you daydreaming about? Whatever you're getting distracted by likely has the answer for what you should be doing.
Tell us a little bit about the timeline of how it got there. And because I think that's a really, really important thing. You just mentioned how we suck at everything we start at. And I know that just in knowing your story that you just started doing this and you built it and you worked and you built it. But I'd love to just understand the trajectory of which you saw that channel grow.
Yeah. So I posted this graphic to my website and it shows my year over year growth. And maybe as I'm talking, your team can like pop it up beside me or something.
Sure.
But year one, I had 25 subscribers. And by year 5, I had 2,000 something subscribers. So it was not an overnight success story, Scott. It was rough. A lot of people, actually people use that graphic often and they'll tag me on tweets and Instagram and send me messages to say, hey, Evan, I'm beating you. Like I'm in year 2 and I have 200 followers and you only had 100. Like, go for it. Let's go. People use it as inspiration because it wasn't some overnight success story. It was waking up every day, working on the craft, getting better, eventually getting a mentor. That's one of the things that really started to help propel my channel forward. But yeah, 5 years in, I still only had 2,000 subscribers. You know, I think a lot of people listening to this, if you're 5 years in on your Instagram account or YouTube, you're probably ahead of me. You know, at least you're close. So it's not out of the range of possibility. And it took a long time to find my footing, gain belief, like all the stuff that most people had, I had too. And I love being able to come on and share the stories of what I was going through, what I am going through, to show like I'm not perfect and I'm introverted and shy. And the thing that got me going was just I want to serve and I have a message that I think can help. The only thing I had going for me was I just kept going. You know, like
350 videos in, it took me 350 videos, public videos, until I could watch myself back on camera. 350 videos. And it took 700 something before I thought I was good. Where one video I made is like, oh, okay, that's not bad. Let's go. I'm starting to get this thing. 700 public videos in, right? I just kept going. The only thing I had from it was I kept going. And when people ask me how, I always focus on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't. So if you have 50 people who watch your video, a lot of people see that as a failure. Like, oh, only 50 people? You spent all that time and only 50 people watch that video? Yeah, but if you're going to go speak at a Rotary Club and 50 people showed up, you'd be like excited. You'd be nervous. It's like, oh, 50 people are here. This is crazy.
The easiest way to move past is to start to get excited about the future. When you are excited about your future, you spend zero time thinking about all the things that you did wrong going backwards, right? You did the best you could with what you had. Forgive yourself. If you had to do it all over again, you would probably play it a little bit different now because you're smarter, you're wiser, you have more experience. But you can't go back in time. And sitting, wishing that you could, and all the mistakes that you would have fixed doesn't serve you. So the key is to start getting excited about the future. Get excited about the future. What are you building? What are you creating? What are you moving towards? Not where you have come from and where you struggled and sucked. So if it's a business opportunity, get excited about the new business you're going to make. If it's a relationship, get excited about the next relationship you're going to have, right? Get on the different dating apps and see who's out there. See who's on the market for you right now and get excited. Like, allow yourself to dream again and to wish again and to hope again. Because that thing that you came from was not the one for you anyway. If you're trying to move through some past mistakes, you give yourself credit for doing the best you could with what you had, and then we start getting excited about the future that is still ahead.
I like to go from why to how to who. So at the beginning of what you're doing, you're going to start blessings. How many episodes have you done?
I'm up to about 70 something. Yeah.
Awesome. At the beginning, it's hard. At the beginning, there's all this self-doubt. Who's going to watch my show? Who does the world need another podcast? Do I even have another voice? Is anybody going to care? What is my studio going to look like? And all of these things that we think about. And the thing that gets you through is actually not the how, it's the why. At the beginning, it's the why. Why are you doing this show? Why is it so important that this thing exists? So at the very beginning, the why really matters. I want to create a show to spread blessings around the world. If you can feel connected to what you're doing, you're much more likely to get going. And so at the beginning, it's really just about creating momentum, and that's remembering the why. Then it moves into the how. And the how is, okay, I feel connected to the mission. I want to start my podcast. Great. I need to figure out what I'm doing. I need to get a camera. I need to ask people if they want to come on my show. I need to get my blessings signed and some tulips. And I need to, I'm sure the set's evolved over the years too. It probably didn't start off this way, or maybe it did.
I just got that.
Perfect. It's like it evolves and it grows. And if we come back in 3 years, it'll be even better, right? It'll be ongoing change. But then it goes to the how. And the how is, how do we need to start doing something. But then as you continue to build, evolve, and grow, it moves to the who. Because as your mission gets bigger, there's no way for you to how everything. The why is still there, but there's no way for you to how everything. Because there's too many things that have to get done. You had mentioned that you'd never traveled by yourself anywhere. Yes. And now you're going to go do this trip to Toronto to meet this guy and be on camera talking about some story. Yeah. Even if it was a disaster, even if you got lost along the way, even if you met me and I wasn't the guy on that you thought I was, and I was a sleazy guy or whatever, or something happened and it was a total disaster, and it didn't work out, or you got food poisoning or whatever. A million things could have gone wrong. I mean, hopefully it was a great trip for you, but a million things could have gone wrong. But even in the worst case scenario, you're still coming back a changed person. Even if it was a waste of time, you still had that experience. You still went on your first trip by yourself. You still showed yourself that you're capable of doing something, that you can get the childcare figured out and the work time off and the trip, all of the things that would have tripped you up before and other things. Now you've shown yourself that you can do it, which means you can do it again for another opportunity. And if this opportunity sucked, then the better opportunity that comes up next, right? So even in the worst case scenario, you're still coming back a better person, somebody who's grown. Like it's these points are the points of no return. You know, you're changing now. You're turning from the caterpillar into the butterfly. Alex getting on stage and at the front of the class and teaching the classes, he sucked. Like it wasn't very good. It wasn't a total disaster, you know, but it wasn't very good. And like, how much could you expect somebody to crush it with 15 minutes notice and you don't even know the material, right? But it doesn't matter how good that one day was. It's that he said yes. It's like, you're saying yes to yourself that I can do this. And then it just becomes about the skill sets. Like you can pick up the knowledge and the skill sets easily, but it's like the willingness to break through that identity of I am not the kind of person who does this. And now all of a sudden I am the kind of person who does this. And that realization changes everything.
What is one way somebody who's listening tonight could show up more boldly?
Ask yourself, what would the boldest version of you do? Like that's actually one of the chapters in the book is like, ask yourself, what would the boldest version of you do right now? And all of a sudden it like cuts away all of the excuses and all the reasons and all the stuff that we believed of why we can't do it, right? Like you're stuck on a decision. Cool. You can go A or B. What would the boldest version of you do? Feel that. And then the answer becomes obvious.
I don't think you're ever done believing in yourself. There's always another level. And so if I look at, I'm 43 now. And if I go back to my first real business, I was 19. Man, if 19-year-old Evan believed in himself like 43-year-old Evan does now, it would be amazing. But at the same time, I'm not done either. If 83-year-old Evan came back to 43-year-old Evan, it's the same message. Hey, you got to believe in yourself more to do the next big thing. When starting your show, I'm sure there's at the beginning, maybe you didn't believe in yourself. Who's going to watch my show? And how do I get started? And all these things. And now to do a show is not as big a deal. It's like you've done a whole bunch, closing in on 100. It's exciting, but it's okay. What's the next level? Because there's always another level. And so I think the world's biggest problem is people don't believe in themselves. I think whatever cancer is a problem. Yes. Okay. I think the woman who solves cancer would have already solved it by now, but she's a manager at some accounting firm because she never believed in herself to go into med school or to solve this grand challenge. And so settled for a smaller life. And I think that's what most people do.
Every post has to be a transformation. And then inside of that, it should contain some element of gratitude and some element of the other two, whatever you're going to end up picking from your list. But if you say progress, right? Like you got to help me make progress in that post. If you just think about that before you post, it changes the post. Even just asking yourself, how are you going to show gratitude in this post? Even if one line, it'll adjust. The post will be slightly different and people will feel that, right?
Oh, whoa. That was mind blowing.
So that's just down the gratitude line. Now you've got the other two that you have to figure out. So let's just play with, progress and if it's progress, development, and gratitude, just as an example, the next post that you create is about help. I want people to transform. I have to help them make progress, development, and show gratitude in this next post. So now it's not just a post about a book. It's much deeper. It's much more important. This is your art that other people can't just copy because for you, it means something more. Gratitude will transform your life. If you show gratitude, that will transform your life. Great. So will those other things. Progress will transform your life and whatever else you want to pick. These are the three ways to transform your life. These three things. And it's worth thinking, think it through. You have two more posts. Thank you. And then two more. Which two from that list of 10 are you going to pick? That's your credo.
How to not procrastinate. Best way I found is you create a calendar. So you create a calendar and you put in your calendar, the habits that will lead you towards success, right? So you have ideas for what you want to create, amazing. None of that happens until you create into actions, right? It's the actions and the habits that you do every day that lead you towards your dreams. Otherwise, they just remain hopes and dreams. So this would not be happening if it was not in my calendar, right? I had to schedule this in. I want to walk outside for 3 hours a day. Great. Well, when is that going to start? If I did not put it in my calendar, I would not be out here doing this. And so step one is you create a calendar that maps to your ambitions, that are the habits, that if you follow those habits, you would move closer to your goals, your business goals, your personal goals, your relationship goals, your finance goals. Are you doing the work? Is it in your calendar, right? Step one. And then step two is you teach yourself that you do what's in your calendar, that we're eliminating the thought process behind it because procrastination is your brain gets in the way. right? Your brain is telling you, oh, I'll do it later. I can't do it now. I'm not smart enough, or I need to do some research first. Like your brain gets in the way. So the way to shortcut the brain is you create the calendar and then you do what's in your calendar. So you create the calendar when you're feeling bold and courageous, and you come with a new goal. It's like so exciting. Great. Don't just sit in that excitement and don't just go researching. Plop in your calendar how you're going to keep this consistently happening in your life so that you don't just get this momentarily burst of energy and then you fall back down. Right? So you put it in your calendar how you're going to sustain this action.
How do you stay consistent?
I think it's really important to have two things. One, that you have a schedule that keeps you on track every day, starting with your morning routine. So I think most people wake up like an accident. I think most people, the first thing they do is they hit the snooze button on their alarm clock. And what does that tell you? That is, you set a goal the night before that I'm going to wake up at 7 o'clock this morning. And the very first thing you do every day is say, slam, it's okay not to hit my goals. That's the first thing most people do every day is they tell themselves that okay not to hit my goal. That's really hard to set yourself up for a great day when the very first thing you're doing, likely multiple times per day, hitting the snooze in the morning is that it's okay not to hit my goal. So first thing, like just get up and have a schedule, especially a morning routine that sets you up for success. Don't wake up like an accident. Do the thing that gets you feeling inspired, bold, confident every morning, whatever that is. For me, I like watching a video. I like learning from somebody who's had success. And then I also like sharing it. So I'll always wake up and I'll share a message on my Instagram that's just an inspiring message for the day. And then I'm good to go. For the person asking the question, whatever it is for you, like maybe you need to listen to an episode of this podcast every morning, huh? That's a good way to get fired up. Maybe you need to put on some reggae tunes. Maybe you need to dance outside with your cat. Like whatever the thing is that gets you feeling motivated, bold, confident. And we've all felt that. You know what it feels like to have that feeling. What did you do to get that? And then put that into your morning routine. I find that really, really helpful. What are your goals? What are your ambitions? Do you want to be an influencer and have 1 million followers, or do you want to grow your leadership practice? And you can tell me, because if you want to be the face for America for something, then we have to go way downstream and talk to more startups and wannabes and considering people who will never hire you, but they're at the very beginning. Because most people are at step 0, like they're just getting started.
I think that's something I've been kind of struggling with. And in terms of who should I serve. So right now, as I mentioned, I've got the people that have a minimum of 25 employees up to 10,000 employees. And they're already a clientele for that group. It's been a matter of me to continue to establish some sort of thought leadership. However, what I get excited about and passionate about is helping people that are at the beginning that want to build something bigger than what they are.
So I would think of it as 3 different buckets, and there's different size of buckets. And there's no right or wrong. It's really more like what's the right for you that you want to go and chase down, right? So the smallest size bucket, but the highest revenue bucket immediately is the people who you're already serving, right? Like 25 employees to 10,000 employees. You already have a business model that works. They will pay you. You make a lot of money doing it. They're ideal clients. Making content on social for people who are searching, that's like you make one deal from that ends up paying for everything, right? That's a no-brainer kind of starting point. That's the big revenue bucket, immediate business model, but super small clientele.
What skill do I wish I developed earlier? That's an interesting question. If I think about all the work that I've done on learning how to make great YouTube videos, it's easy to go to places like that. But I think the number one skill would have been to listen, like to ask and listen to advice earlier. So I could say thumbnails and title optimization and be better on camera, but I think it's the willingness to ask for help and actually listen to the advice that's really made some of the biggest forward shifts in my life. And at the beginning, I resisted a lot of it and still probably do to some extent, but I'm better than I used to be. And if I knew that earlier, that would probably be the skill that I would work on the fastest.
You continue to believe in yourself in spite of your insecurities. So whose voice do you hear in your head telling you that you can do it?
A combination of a few. The first is my best self. So I'm talking to myself constantly and saying, okay, Evan, let's go. You got this. You can do this. It's going to be a great day. Let's go. You're going to have a great session with Mitzi. It's going to be awesome. I'm constantly just, I guess if you can hear the conversation in my own head, I might be putting in a silent or something, but it's like I'm constantly talking to myself and trying to cheer myself on. The second is my parents. My mom would always say, you're Evan Castrilli Carmichael. You can do anything you believe that you can. And that's a constant reminder. There's a giant picture of my parents right there in front of me as a reminder. And then the third is all the people that I profile. You mentioned the top 10 series on my channel. I profile successful people because I want to be around them every day, because I want to learn something from them every day. And when I see Elon Musk thinking about a backup plan for the Earth by going to Mars, it's, man, I thought I was thinking big. And here it's like backup plan for all of humanity. And not using that as a kick down, like I suck and I'm not thinking big enough, but as a push forward to say, wow, these people are doing amazing things. And therefore I can too.
Besides the who, why, and how process, what would be the next step with just my who, with my core value?
You have to make your account about helping people transform. Your account is not about books. Books is the path. Your account is about transformation. So when I come to your account, I should feel like you're giving me a window to be able to transform myself. And that could be through books still. It's not like don't post about books. Books is the avenue. But the lessons that when you're doing a book review, it's not just about the top 8 takeaways. It's all with a lens of this book will help you transform because of X.
Yes.
When you bring on guests for your show, it's about helping other people transform, helping you transform through the questions. But the people who end up watching the video, you want to get out messages of transformation. Everything great in your life is on the other side of your comfort zone. So if you only stay to do the things that you know how to do,
you'll be the same place.
You'll have no fear, but you'll hate your life. Because you'll be the most bored person of all time. If you woke up and did the exact same thing every day, that's a path to hate in your life. But to do something different that you've done every day requires you to step outside your comfort zone, which means you're going to be scared. So everything that you want in life is on the other side of the things that you're afraid to do. So I feel a lot of fear and accept that fear is not a good enough reason. And that's the thing that I try to train myself.
Evan, it's recognizing what can you control? You know, if your parents don't support, let's take the worst. Your parents don't support your podcast. Your parents say, Ben, this is stupid. You need to go become a doctor, a lawyer. You can't be a podcaster. Well, you're probably too young to move out, right? I mean, at some point you have to become an adult. Right? At some point, 14 may be a little young, but maybe it's 16, maybe it's 18, maybe it's 20. Like at what point are you an adult and you're going to start to live your life? This is a very interesting time, like between 14 and 18 is to start realizing I need to be able to start living my life. So it's like, what's the small version? So I'm looking at compromises. So and I'm not saying your parents don't want you to do the podcast. I'm sure they're super supportive, but like, let's go with the worst case scenario. Well, your parents probably love you, right? Like chances are your parents love you. And for everybody listening, watching, your parents probably love you. They just don't understand the world that exists for you right now. Your parents at 14 were totally different. The opportunities available to them were totally different. If you are a 14-year-old and you're going to call up and have a conversation with a 40-year-old, it's like, wait, what? And what are you talking about? It's just super weird. So they want you to have success. They just see success totally differently than what you see it as right now. So they probably love you. Now, they have different expectations of you. And as long as you're under their roof, you have to at least try to match it so you don't get into trouble. So if they're saying, okay, well, what we really care, Ben, is that you get good grades in school. Great. So if I get straight A's in school, can I have my podcast? Like, right? That's the negotiation, right? It's like, hey, so you're under their roof. This is the deal. You're going to study hard. You're going to get your straight A's or whatever it is. And then you get to do your thing on the side.
So it's easy to be the big fish in the small pond, but who's pushing you to want to do like the next big thing, right? And that's where I think membership groups, we talked about Genius Network, can be great. But that's also only once a month, right? Like what happens on
every other day.
And then you come back home and it's easy to fall back down. So that's where I think content at scale really helps. So I'm making videos that I still need myself because I want Oprah in my ear and Elon Musk in my ear and like the best of all these people daily in my ear because it pushes me to want to go off and do more. And so I'll start my day with a morning video from my own channel, something that I help make, but it's like, okay, yes, I need that message again today because there are people who are achieving on a much bigger level than I am. And I still need it because your environment pulls you up. And most people, when they follow accounts on Instagram or YouTube, they'll say, well, I open my phone and I'm wasting my time just scrolling through the feed. Well, you chose to follow those people, right? Like I open my YouTube and Instagram and it's great. I'm excited. I'm learning through all this stuff. It's not negativity and news and you're opting into all that stuff. So audit who you're following, right? Add Scott Danner to that list of people to follow. You're not going to feel worse about yourself watching Scott. You're going to feel uplifted. And so we can do a conscious audit of who we follow, who we subscribe to, what content we watch to get more of that fed to us. And I think that makes a big shift because if every day you had Scott Danner, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey in your ear, everybody has an agenda for what we should do with our lives. You know, your parents want you to do something, your friends want you to do something, your school wants you to do something. We're told, you know, what to wear, how to act, who to marry, what career to go into. You know, it's starting to change, but we're told at a very young age what we can and can't do. You think about when you were growing up, when you were a little kid, you wanted to do something crazy. You know, I wanted to be a baseball player during the season and a police officer in the off season. Right? People want to be astronauts and all sorts of crazy things. And then the expectations of other people make us end up wanting to play small. The great thing about social media, YouTube, et cetera, is that now there are people that you can learn from and get mentorship from that are not just your immediate circle. Because the people watching, listen to this, you're probably already the most ambitious person that you know. You're probably the person who is already encouraging others and you've maybe already outstripped what your parents did or the income your parents are making or the moves that they made in their career. You're probably already ahead of them and you may not even be that old yet. And so who do you look to for mentorship and guidance? Well, there's lots of people online now sharing their wisdom that you can learn from and aspire to not be like, but pull from to be, a better version of you.
If I say scary, difficult, or hard, I have to do it just because I said it. The fact that I'm scared of it is not a good enough reason anymore because everything you want is on the other side of scared. My family's been trained, my team's been trained to hear me say scary, difficult, or hard. Say you said it, like, oh crap, now I have to go do it just because. And that might be a little crazy, weird duck for people, but it's helped me. The one that's more accessible and easy for people to grasp is that we still want to serve. Just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you don't want to serve. Doesn't mean you don't want to help. That you've got a message, you've got knowledge that if you were going to sit down with the person you were 10 years ago, you could help that person. You could give that person guidance, love, even just a hug would be valuable, right? Depending on what we've all been through, some trauma, pain, struggle, suffering. It's why you're here. Entrepreneurs, the greatest thing is to serve and give back and help, and obviously make money in the process of doing that. But we're here to serve and help. And so if you're silent, you're not helping people.
Yeah.
So you want to serve and give back. And so that every time I shift it from, I'm not here for me and making myself look good in front of Deepak or whoever, it's he's got a message and hasn't been asked an entrepreneurial kind of interview before. So I'm trying to get knowledge out of him that people can use. I'm here to serve. So it's not about me anymore. It's about who I'm trying to help. And that calms me down. So depending on the day and the situation, I rotate between the two. Like I do difficult things and I'm here to serve. And sometimes it's like 90-10 or sometimes it's 50-50. But those two things help me get up on stage or doing that interview to get the message out. Easy means you're only doing things you know how to do. So you're just stuck doing, you actually hate your life. Like you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over again, right? I think that if there's nothing in your calendar that scares you, you actually hate your life. You want to grow, you want to learn, and that has to come with some dose of fear. Otherwise, it's a lifetime of regret.
How have you done that? How have you got to have close contact with people as them?
I recognized your name. You've been involved in my community. You've been posting comments on my channel. You've been responding. And so I didn't know your face. I didn't know your name, but I recognized the account. And so step one is you want to try to be active for the people who you want to get in touch with. And the bigger the name is, the harder it's going to be to break through, and also paying attention to where they pay attention. So I'm right now spending a lot of time in Instagram. So it's a good place to catch me. Coming to my live stream on YouTube is a fantastic place to catch me, right? Like, how many people show up to that thing? There were 7 people online at the time when you come in or something. It's like crazy. But if I go live on Instagram, it's hard to see everybody's questions. And if I go live on YouTube, it's my main YouTube channel, it's ridiculous. So you came to the right spot. So great. Like, this is what you do. You find out where are they actually being involved themselves, because a lot of them, it's their team. A lot of them, they're not responding, not just where they're posting, where are they responding? Where are they engaging? Where are they interacting? So that's step one. So you've already done it. Now you've got an account that talks about books. I have a book, that helps. I don't know if you said that you were a young entrepreneur or not in the message, but that's a good starting point. Next, you use the people's names to go get other people's names. So now I'm on your show. You use my name to go get other people. And to some people that means something. To other people doesn't mean anything. The easiest way, like if you want to get Wim Hof, you look at who is he following on Instagram. Not who follows him, but who is he following? I don't know if he follows me. Maybe.
Yes, he does.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah.
So great. So you've got me. Now you go look at everybody else that he's following and try to get some easy people, right? If he follows The Rock, that's going to be hard to get The Rock on you. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a long wait probably to make that happen. A lot of ongoing effort. But there might be some other author that he follows that people don't really know of. But then you can write to him and say, hey, I hear you have this book. I'd love to have you on my show. I've had Evan Carmichael and other authors on. I'd love to feature you. So now all of a sudden, if you get 4, 5, 6 different people who he follows and he knows, even though they're not big name people and they've all been on your show, and you reach out to say, hey, we've had Evan on and we've had all these people, like, oh, all those people, I know all those guys. If they said yes, I'm going to say yes too. So if you look at it in my world, I've got Wim Hof follows me. Great. I follow Wim Hof. Awesome. If Wim Hof came on somebody's show and they said, hey, Wim Hof's been on, that's an easier yes for me compared to something else. But look at the businesses that I've invested in. So Alex Sayen, Mark Drager, Jeremy Stickney, Kyle Manko, like these names may not mean anything to you, but I know who they are. I care about those people. And if they were on somebody's show and then they reach out to me to say, we've had these people on, like, oh, really? They went on? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do it. So that's what you're looking for. Look at who he is following, see how you can get some of them on your show. And you just keep doing it. For anybody that you want to get in touch with, you can start with me. Anybody who's following me, a couple 100,000, there's somebody on there that looks interesting, and then see who else they're following and you reach out.
The easiest way that I found to promote and not sound egotistical is to tell stories. So I struggle with this a lot. Struggling to charge money for what I did, struggling to believe in the price tag that I was charging, struggling to increase the price. And I found out that I'm doing all this work for almost no money, and it wasn't working out, right? So, okay, I need to find a way to be able to sell my products and services without it, I need to make money, and how do I do it without it being in a super slimy way? And so stories was one of the things that saved me the most. Of course, serving, right? So it's a great message. I wrote the book, Built to Serve. There's lots in there. And an easy way to do it is through your stories. So whether it's your story or a customer story or somebody that you've helped, right? Case study. I don't know what you're selling, but if somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm struggling with YouTube, right? I'm struggling with YouTube. I don't know how to go. Don't know how to do my thumbnails. I don't know. We're not growing. We're not getting the results we want. How do I grow on YouTube? Instead of just saying, well, I have this service and you can go hire Zach to help you on this, and it's going to cost you blank, right? That feels super slimy. Want to get to know them better. It's like, well, tell me about what you're selling, what you're trying to create, what your goals are. And then I'll usually tell some kind of story. So a story about other people that we've helped, or a story. I usually don't use exact names of people, but you could if you have their permission. And I'll tell a story of somebody like them and how they achieved results. And ultimately what ends up happening is they come back and say, wow, if that person can do it, maybe I can too. How do I work with you? And so it's much more consultative, where you're asking questions and really deeply. I think this is where you'll probably win. If you feel like sales is too slimy and it sounds too egotistical, awesome. Make it about them. Make it about your client. deeply understand, the people who are massively egotistical don't ask questions about the prospect. They don't ask questions about the client. They're just trying to sell. Ask questions. Get to know them. Understand what they're actually going through and why they're talking to you in the first place. What are their problems? And then tell stories around how you have solved it for other people. And I found that just be an easy way to get people to take the right actions.
Something I've always wanted to do is start a business. And like you said, when you were 14, you were doing the trading cards. And, when I was young, I also used to, sell avocados on the street. In fact, but now I want to get into something a lot more serious. But I find myself getting really excited about these new projects. But then after a month, it kind of wears down, like, the shiny object syndrome. So what are your tips on, staying committed and following through?
You have to love the process of it. So how do you avoid the shiny object syndrome? Often that's the result. It's like you like the result of making money. You like the result of helping this person. You like the result of being able to put that work in and help people and have extra cash in your pocket. Like, you like the result. Do you like picking avocados? Do you like looking after the avocado tree and watering it? Do you like having maybe no, right? So that's the problem. You have to like both the result as well as the actual process of doing it, right? So if I look at me, I've done over 10,000 videos on YouTube. And people ask me, don't I burn out? Like, no, because I like it. Like talking to you right now, this isn't work for me. I like it. It's fun. You've done your research. You're asking great questions. I don't look at this on my calendar and say, oh my God, okay, I got to do an interview. Who's this guy, Ben? What are we talking about? I look forward to it. I open up my calendar like, oh, this is going to be fun. I can't wait to talk to this guy, right? So the result is going to be an interview that, goes on your show and maybe gets me more views or gets you more subscribers or whatever. Great. But the actual process, you've done a lot of work to research my story, to come up with all your questions, which is great. Did you enjoy the process of doing that? Did you enjoy the process of us talking here, right? If yes, then this could be your business. If no, then I think it's great to explore it. It was a fun thing to do, to test. And I think this, again, is one of those things where you get an idea, just start, just test, just play with it. Just see if you like it. Like, it could have been a complete disaster, or it could be the greatest thing ever, but you don't know until you do it. And you can't think your way through that. And so when I get an idea, I trust that it's a good idea. And then we just start doing something about it. So I messaged everybody, hey, I'm thinking about doing this for my birthday. Everybody was in. Everybody booked their flights. So like, okay, I guess we're doing this thing. And then it ended up being amazing. We'll make a couple tweaks and changes the next time. But for the most part, it was awesome. And you never know until you start doing it. And so it's taking those ideas you have and just taking the smallest possible action step instead of overthinking it. Because if I wait until tomorrow, I probably wouldn't have done it.
The way that regret actually served me was I was looking at Jeff Bezos. So I quit on my business partner for one day when I was 19. Yep. And the thing that got me going back was I don't want to regret this moment, because we often regret the things that we don't do, the things that we're afraid to do, as opposed to the things that we did. So I said, even if we fail in this software company, I'd rather know and fail than not know, because the not knowing for my whole life would destroy me. But knowing and failing, I could accept and I can move on to something else. And so that's where I've used regret to try to help me push through. But I haven't used that strategy as much in the past decade, because really that's a mental exercise to force yourself to do the thing. Where now it's just idea to action, right?
Just do it.
Great ideas flow through you. So you don't even have to do the mental gymnastics. You just do it because it came to you.
In today's society, personal brand is becoming really important. What is a way that you can have your personal brand stick out from others?
I think it's important to think about what is a story that only you can share. So you can look at the trends, you can look at what people are putting up, but inside of that, what is a story that only you can share? So for me, I'm a visual learner, so I could talk about being a visual learner. I'm an introvert, I could talk about being an introvert. I've made 10,000 videos, I can talk about making 10,000 videos. if you're just following some trend, but you don't have a unique perspective on it, it's probably not going to do so well.
Yeah.
So what are the stories that only you can share? So you're basically being one of one. What does that look like for you? And it might take some time to figure that out. At the beginning, when you're on your career, if you're going to be a content creator, well, you don't know how to make content yet. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to copy other people. You model, you see what other people are doing, and you do it. But if all you do is copy other people, you're going to be an Elvis impersonator. I don't know if the audience knows an Elvis impersonator, but basically people who make their whole career out of pretending to be Elvis Presley, who's a very famous American singer. But that's the height of your career. It's like you're a copy of somebody else. So you'll never be the original. You'll just be a copy of somebody else. So at the beginning, it's okay to copy, because how do you know? But in the doing, you then figure out, how do I mix this thing with my own unique elements? Mm-hmm. As you start making videos, you'll start finding things you can add in that other people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. You may not be able to plan it out. If I'm just sitting here on this chair and I'm trying to plan out my future as a content creator, I've never done anything, you're not going to have any degree of accuracy in what you create. But it's in the doing, by modeling other people, and then seeing how can I add my own unique twist to things, that your style, your voice, your unique angles start to come out.
What does it mean to live a fulfilling life? It's a big one.
Everybody wants to wake up and feel like what they're going to do matters. Like, I think fulfillment comes from feeling like you're creating something that's going to matter to somebody else, not just for yourself, not just a selfish pursuit, but we all want to feel like today is going to matter. I'm going to make something that's going to matter for somebody else. And some of us, you and I, we want to have a big impact, change the world, do big things. And other people, they just want to help the people around them, their family. But if you woke up every day and felt like today doesn't matter, nobody cares, if I show up or not, it doesn't make any difference, that's the path down to anxiety and stress and depression and suicide and a lot of dark places. But if you felt like today was going to matter and you're going to make something today that may not change the world, but can touch one person's life, like it means something to one person, that's the path to a fulfilling life.
To learn how to make money from your passion, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If you're just doing for you and it's heart, it's what's in your soul and you just want to create, cool. Like, you got a hobby. If you're doing it as a business, it has to bring value to people. Mm-hmm. That's where the head comes in. Because if you're only doing it for that because your brain tells you to do it,